Now we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to talk about TV dads. I love TV. I don't watch it. Now, one of my girlfriends makes fun of me. She comes over and Law and Order's on. She's like, you still watch that? That old stuff? I said, well, I'm old. What the hell? But I love TV shows. So you guys can comment. Feel free on each one of them. I got a whole list of TV dads. First. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the TomCast. I'm the Tominator, Tom Chiricello. The lovely Morgan Steffes is with us today.
Hello.
Hi, Morgan. How are you today?
I'm great.
You missed us last week, I bet.
Yes, I did. I was at a conference in Orlando.
There
Nice.
you go. Drew Ryan is here.
What's happening, man?
He's got his Court TV jacket on it. Where'd you get that?
Got sold cable advertising many years ago, and we would always get these little free gifts, and I like this one, man.
A bribe?
Well, no, they would actually, all of the networks, it was cool. They would come to things like the seminars and drop little gifts off. Little swag, like she knows.
Love the swag.
That's it. Tominator swag. Come to the farmer's market in Sarasota, Florida this Saturday from 8 to 1.
Yep.
Nice.
We'll have our tent there. Tominator Law tent. We got a lot of free stuff to give away.
Oh, good.
Selfies with me.
Yeah.
Free mimosas. Just kidding. We're not allowed to do that.
Not allowed to give away alcohol. I wanted to.
I know. Would have been the best booth.
We got some shout outs today. First of all, by the way, I have Wendy's again today for my drink because no sponsors are stepping up. What the heck? There must be some lame ass chain that's trying to get established. Get in with me on the ground floor,
Sure.
What's a...
We should keep an eye out for that here. Someone local in Sarasota, I bet.
We could get somebody local, man. But you're
sure.
going national, man. I'm surprised, Exxon hasn't,
Let's talk about some... We'll play convenience store trivia.
Okay.
AM PM Market, you ever hear of them?
Sure.
They're huge in the West, California.
AM.
Krausers.
No.
What's that in the East? I think there's almost none left. Welsh Farms.
Yeah.
Our friends in the Northeast, like Boston, know Cumberland Farms. That was a big one. I used to love going to the convenience store when I was a kid.
We just had 7-Eleven.
Little General, they used to have Little General.
I remember that, yeah.
Right. Now he's selling insurance.
7-Eleven got in that, they invented that. And now, these other stores passed it by, like Wawa. Is definitely better than 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven got dirty bathrooms. I'm married. I don't even want to go in there.
No, they're pretty low life, man. I agree. They are, man. I don't care. They know it.
I'm not here to bust 7-Eleven. I'm just saying, my opinion, the bathrooms are dirty.
Dirty.
All right, enough about that. Our shout-outs, Sunday's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. That's going to be the theme of this. We're not going to do the Taylor Swift tribute episode this week. I'm still waiting for my Taylor Swift panel of experts. They're negotiating hard. They want all this kind of perks and stuff. I'm like,
oh, man.
They probably want free Taylor Swift tickets, Tom. Come on, cop it up.
They want free Taylor Swift. I said the movie, it doesn't count. I'll take you to see the Eras movie, but they're like, no.
It's free on Netflix.
So, it's funny, these holidays when I was a kid, I thought it was a scam, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day. But I'm, into them now, I think it's great. They should have a Lawyer's Day. I don't know. People hate lawyers.
I think it'd just be a Tominator Day. We should make it a holiday.
I can create my own holiday and trademark it. And
don't you think, some of these holidays were, they seem gimmicky, man. They're just trying to sell stuff. Father's Day, how many bad white polka dot ties can you get and a wrench, man? I mean...
It's become a money grab, but if you think about the reasoning behind it, it's a day where you have to set aside to appreciate that person. So I think the intent is good.
Yeah.
But then the hallmark of the world took it over and just kind of made it schemy and trying to take the money.
They commercialized it. But it's we'll talk about it. We're going to be talking about dads and our dads and TV dads. But you don't realize when you're a kid, I was fortunate. like how good your parents were. Like, you know, you just
Sounds like
everybody fights with their parents. You know,
Sure.
They want you to come home early. They don't want you to let you do what you want. But like, I mean, I look back and I didn't realize how lucky I was.
Right. Sure. And I think as we get older, we all kind of feel that way. Hopefully, anyways.
Yeah, you hate it in the moment, but then you become an adult and you're like, oh, that's why they did that.
So for our younger listeners out there, you be nice to your mom and dad.
That's right.
Remember, they might leave you something in the will. Oh no, just say no. We're not all into that. You should just be nice to them because they brought you life. And
Yes.
Yeah, they
and
made
raised
you.
you. Correct.
Another shout out. Morgan will not know who this person is. I know Drew will. Jerry West died a couple days ago.
The logo.
He's the NBA logo is based on him. It's like a silhouette of a man. You know, you can't tell who it is.
Jerry West.
There's no face, but they based it on him. Jerry West was an unbelievable NBA player. Grew up in West Virginia. They called him, I think, Zeke from Cabin Creek because that's where he grew up. And he went to the University of West Virginia. He was great there. Won the Olympic gold medal in basketball in 1960. And he was an all-star for the Lakers. I think every year he played, he made the all-star team.
Yeah.
Only won one world championship in 1972 because the Boston Celtics were a dynasty. And I think he lost in the finals to the Celtics 6 times.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
I didn't
in
realize
theory,
that.
he could have won like 4 or 5 championships, but they lost to the finals in the finals 6 times to the Celtics. Speaking of fathers, he was a victim of child abuse. His father abused him.
That's sad.
As a kid, he overcame that. He was a victim. We talked a few episodes about mental health. Like, he wrote a book talking about all his mental health issues. This is a great-looking guy, wealthy, basketball player. You know, everybody loved him, and yet even he had these issues.
Wow.
I mean, like you know, I shared in prior episodes, I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, everybody's got problems.
That's right.
For sure.
But, you know, he was, after his career ended, he was a coach and a general manager. And a lot of people give him credit with building the great Laker teams with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Sam Perkins.
Dude, he acquired Kobe Bryant, the draft rights for Kobe Bryant for Vlade Divac.
And then also Shaquille O'Neal.
What a great trade, you know.
He signed Shaquille O'Neal as a free agent.
Oh, he was, very well-respected man in the NBA.
When
That's
did
a
he
big
become
loss.
the logo?
Oh, that logo probably goes back to, I would say, well, like the late 60s.
I don't think you could change it now. They've been talking maybe you put Kobe for the new generation or Michael Jordan, but
Definitely in
now I
the
think
70s
you
they
need
had it.
Yeah.
That logo definitely goes back to
I
the
think he
70s.
stays now.
And then he went, so he built the Laker teams, and then he went to the Memphis Grizzlies, and they were horrible, and they never won the championship, but he made them a lot better. Then he was a consultant for the Warriors, like with, you know, when they won all those titles with Marbury and, you know, Michael Thompson and those guys. And Michael Thompson was the father. Klay Thompson. Right. I'm showing my age there. Michael Thompson is Klay's father. No one remembers Michael Thompson. I remember him. University of Minnesota.
Yeah. Couple of big losses, man. Bill Walton, Jerry West, you know. It's sad for the NBA, man. They both were big-time names and did a lot for the league.
By all accounts, a good man. If anyone had anything bad to say about Jerry West, I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
A couple quick follow-ups. Hunter Biden, guilty. Like I said, I didn't think Trump should be found guilty, and I didn't think Hunter Biden should be found guilty of federal gun charges. Now, what's interesting, for those who don't know, I'll give you some legal information. The President of the United States has the right to pardon anyone found guilty of federal crimes, not state crimes. Now, Trump's issue in New York was state crimes. This is federal. So in theory, Joe Biden could pardon him. Now, if they're kind of really saying, I think he first was saying, no, I'm not going to do that.
Come on, you know Joe's pardoning the guy. That's BS.
Yeah, there's no way. It's his son.
He ain't going to jail, man.
So that's an issue with both Trump and Biden is they're both, I believe, first offenders. Usually people don't go to jail for their first offense unless they a serious crime like rape, murder, kidnapping, things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if he is going to be pardoned, usually what presidents do when they pardon, they wait till like their last day in office.
Sure.
So then no one can.
Well, who cares? I'm leaving anyway, you know.
Right.
And there have been, we could do a whole show about presidential pardons. Like, sometimes they pardoned really bad guys or women too that they did it, who helped them, gave them money or whatever. Like Bill Clinton pardoned a guy in his last day named Mark Rich, R-I-C-H, who was a very wealthy commodities trader. And Mark Rich, he broke a lot of federal laws, and Clinton pardoned him.
Didn't Trump pardon like Lil Wayne or someone, one of those rappers? Who was it? It was Lil Wayne? It was Lil Wayne, yeah.
Trump made some controversial
No wonder he's
pardons.
getting the vote. They love Lil Wayne, man.
Next follow-up goes to my man, my lookalike, Jeff Bezos. Now, for those who don't know, the richest man in the world can change every day. Like if a stock goes up, so Bezos is back in front as the richest man in the world.
Wow, you're on top again, man.
Number 2 is Bernard Arnault, who is the head of Louis Vuitton, that luxury
Makes
goods
sense.
company. He's number 2. But he had been number 1 for a while. Elon Musk is 3rd, Tesla.
Yeah.
Who's the richest woman?
Good question.
That is a good
Didn't
question.
even consider looking that up, did you, Tom?
I'm trying to
Gotta
marry
be
her.
somebody in the top 10.
Whoever it is,
Whoa,
whoever
right
it
on.
is, she's invited on.
It might be it could be the Redstone lady,
I'm not about
the
it.
CBS
No,
lady
you know
who's
what I
on
would
the
say
board.
it might be one of the Walton.
Yeah,
Walmart.
Sam Walton's.
Is this the world you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
My guess would be one of the owners of Walmart.
Francois Betancourt?
Da, da, da,
Morgan, that's her assignment to look her up and get her to come here and date me. All right.
She's going to be old, Tom.
All right. Well, her granddaughter.
That's about right.
All right. So now, as I said, this is our Father's Day episode. Before we get into that, we're going to be talking about TV dads. We want to talk about our real dads. So, Morgan, we're going to start with you. All right. So, first, tell me, what's your dad's name?
Howard Oscar Louis Steffes Jr. the third. I think he's a third.
Where'd your dad grow up?
Joliet, Illinois.
Joliet.
Yep.
Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. Did he go to school there?
Yeah, so he grew up, he had 5 sisters. He was in the middle of them, and he went to Joliet Catholic High School. Never went to college, got a bunch of scholarships, but he started working at 14 so he could take care of all of his sisters.
And what did your father do for a living?
Bunch of different jobs when he was younger. He worked for Commonwealth Edison. He did like a lot of the electrical wire work in Joliet and then actually Naperville as well, which is where I was born. And then he started custom home building.
Really?
Buying and renting real estate. It's kind of what he does now as a retired man. But yeah, he built over 500 homes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Awesome. That is. Man, that's hard to
Where does he
follow.
live now?
So they just got rid of their Naperville house a couple of years ago, and they're permanently in Sarasota.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have him on the show one day.
I think he would love that.
Nice.
And one thing that you share with me off the air, one thing your father and Donald Trump, well, I guess they have more than that in common, but one thing is neither ever took a drink.
Yeah, so he's never had a sip of alcohol his entire life. He's really proud of that.
Good for him,
That
man.
is good,
His
Yeah.
liver's definitely better than yours and mine, Tom.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
He's very, very healthy. So it's a
All
good
right,
thing.
there you go.
Yeah.
And how many siblings do you have?
I have 2 older sisters. They are 39 and 40. Callie and Brienne. Brienne lives in Bradenton. Callie's in Manhattan.
And your mother, what's her name?
Nancy.
And how long have your parents been married?
Gosh, over 40 years. They had their 40th anniversary a couple years ago. And fun fact, they are 3 days apart in age. All right. My mom was born first, so technically she's a cougar. And then my dad was born like 3 days later, and they were in the same hospital in Joliet when they were newborn babies.
Oh, wow.
They dated when they were 14, had a little breakup. My mom like flicked my dad off all angry. And then at like 27, he saw her at a bar. She was on a date. He walked up to the guy and was like, "She's with me now," and just took her away.
Wow.
Engaged 3 months later, married 3 months after that.
That was a pretty gutsy
Yeah.
move, you know?
He was definitely a player in his time. He was good with
for
his
Dad,
words.
man.
So tell us, share an experience you and your dad had, like whether it was like a school play or like he took you on a vacation somewhere, you know.
Yeah. So he always took me to Florida, which is why we ended up here. Like every single holiday we would come here, but he would do a trip with me every year with my friend Susie. And he would actually take us to St. Pete. And they had those like pluffy stuffed animals, like TY Beanie Babies. And he bought us each like 14 of them on that trip. He took us to Ben and Jerry's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was like one of my favorite memories. So I loved doing that with him. And then I did gymnastics growing up, and there would be one day every week he'd pick me up from gymnastics, and we'd go to Portillo's. So you probably have heard of Portillo's now. They just started bringing it here.
I went there last Sunday in Tampa.
Yeah, it's like a little hot dog joint. And so that was like the one thing me and my dad would do together.
Italian sausage I had.
I'd get a hot dog and then a chocolate malt shake. And when I was like little, I remember I would eat all of the hot dog up until the end, and I would always give him the last piece. And then one year I grew and I ate the whole thing. He's like, "You're not going to share the hot dog with me anymore." I'm like,
maybe we can get Portillo's to be a sponsor. They're a chain in Illinois, a lot of locations.
It's so
but they're in
good.
Florida. Like they have the two I know is one in Brandon, which is outside of Tampa, and one in Tampa on Taylor Avenue. I did go there last Sunday.
yeah, they're amazing. And they're opening one in Bradenton soon. So
Nice.
you'll be able to
Bradenton
try it.
Yeah, it'll be a lot
seems to
closer.
get things faster than Sarasota. Is that just me? I mean, they have
Yeah.
everything. Trill Burger. I don't know if Trill Burger.
But I told him when it opens here, we're going to go once a month together, just like we did growing up.
There you
So.
go.
Nice, man. Nice.
And is your dad paying for the wedding?
He is paying for the wedding.
Father
For
of
those
the
who don't
bride.
know, Morgan's getting married in October.
At the resort at Longboat
Is it-
Key Club. It's a very
Oh.
exclusive
Wow.
list.
Anyone who
that-
wants to, is there a website they can give you a gift?
yeah, I'll take Venmo donations. Morgan-Steffes. Thank
that's
you very
really
much. Trey is all good.
Nice.
I don't think you'll complain about that, right?
Yeah, no. But yeah, so my dad is paying for the wedding. It's gotten a little more expensive than he planned.
Inflation, you gotta tell him that.
But I'm the baby.
Yeah.
So,
Inflation.
This is the
Well,
one
it's
and
what he
only.
paid for a wedding 10 years ago ain't the same.
yeah, we're not going to talk about what the total came to.
Just
He
get
might
him a
not-
few drinks
he
at the
might
bar
not
really
even
quick.
know yet. Yeah, the
Oh, he
drinks he
doesn't
doesn't
drink.
drink. Diet
Oh,
Coke.
yeah, that's right. Okay.
Coke Zero. He loves a good Coke Zero.
Well, that's good. And you're a great gal. And Trey is a super guy. And you guys
yes.
are going to have a long life. And that'll be a great
Yeah.
wedding, I'm sure.
He is happy to have like a more blue collar guy come into the
Yeah,
family.
he's good
just
people,
like
yeah.
him, which is nice.
Smart guy, too.
All right, my man Drew, you're up. But what's your dad's name?
James Robert Ryan. James Robert Ryan from New Jersey.
Where did he grow up?
Newark area.
All right.
I've got a lot of family still back there, West Orange and whatnot. And he met my mom in high school, same type of thing. And, kind of went to boyfriend, girlfriend, and then they ended up getting married. And he got into real estate. He was in real estate. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but he passed at age 57. He lived a hard life. He was into nightclubs, and he was kind of the Steve Rubell of Syracuse, New York, man. Had it going
those
on.
who-
Studio 54.
For those
It
who
was
don't know, Steve
popping.
Rubell was a partner in Studio 54.
Yeah. It was
Very wealthy guy.
Right, in the disco era. So he lived a fast life. He was a good family man, loved my mom, and had 2 sons, 2 daughters, and we lost him too early. And, I know that he'd be proud of me overcoming a lot of things that I've done and accomplished. And, I think of him around Father's Day, and I'm blessed that he made me.
How long's he been gone?
1988,
it's
passed
way too young.
emphysema, and just, he lived hard, man. But, we wish maybe, if life goes on, and maybe he should have made some different, decisions, taking care of himself. But in the 70s, man, it was fast, man. It was happening. He didn't get cheated. So we were blessed for the time that we had with him. So.
Can you share an experience like family vacation or maybe
We
high
took-
school event or
took some
something that you remember
Yeah.
with your dad?
Family events. We did some traveling. Went to St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, and we had a condo in Anna Maria Island, which hopefully it's still there from all this flooding that we've had here. But we would do a lot of
For those who don't know, we've been experiencing severe flooding the last couple of days. in Southwest
So we did a
Florida.
lot of beach stuff, family stuff. Kind of a funny story, I would have high school parties, and they would go to Anna Maria Island to the condo, and they probably knew what was going on, but I would throw some ragers, and I thought I kept it all from them, but he knew what was happening. But, he made me a legend, so, in my own mind anyways. So we had some good times, man. He was a good dad.
Where's your dad buried?
He was cremated.
Right.
Yep, cremated, yep.
Yeah, that's become more and more common. Like when I was, my parents were both cremated, like, and they were Catholic, devout. Like, people didn't do that. You were like, it was sacrilegious if you got cremated,
Really?
I think, at one time. But now,
Yeah.
it's just cheaper. And
Yeah, it is.
And at some point, you can't keep burying.
Yeah.
we're running out of room,
Listen,
right?
you got
I
two
feel like
choices, man.
It's almost more
Flip a coin, man.
Yeah, but it's
That's
also
like the
more
Super Bowl.
special because then you can bring the ashes home. You put them in a really nice,
Right.
beautiful box, and you
Right,
can bring
right.
them wherever you are. Versus, think like some people, they move and then their family member is buried in a completely different state, and they can never visit that site.
Sure.
So I think in that
it's a tough
aspect, it
call.
makes sense.
Hopefully, we'll have to make that decision for a long time, everybody at this table.
Yeah, right.
So, but thanks for asking about him, and he would have liked you and he would have been very thankful for how you have helped me and a lot of people in town too, Tom. How about your dad, man?
My dad's name was Carmine Patrick Chericello. Like, when I was a kid, like, I was like almost like, I don't want to use the word embarrassed. I love my dad, and he was a great looking guy, very, like could sing like Frank Sinatra, in great shape, never gained an ounce. Everybody loved him, but like, the whole Italian name, like my dad's Carmine Chericello. Like I was like, why can't my dad be John Smith? It's like,
I think that's a great name,
But
Carmine Chericello.
That is.
They used to call him Mr. C, the kids in the neighborhood. But he grew up in a town called Elizabeth, a city really, Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's a blue collar working class, right next to Newark, one town over.
Yeah.
It's all like what they call, like now it's kind of changing where they're building like waterfront luxury condos, But it was kind of rough area, and my dad was like, back then you didn't have kids. If you were 30 and didn't have kids, they thought, "What's wrong with you?" Now people are having kids, 40s, even 50s.
Yeah.
But
Even Al Pacino, I think, had one at 70.
70
man.
something, yeah. But like my father was over 40 when I was born, but so he played sports. He was a really good athlete too, wrestling. He was like the lightest weight wrestler, so I think back then it was like 100 pounds was like the lowest weight class. He wrestled, ran track, and played baseball. And I kind of didn't believe him when he would say how good of an athlete he was. And then I remember like one year we were on vacation and they had a softball game. It was all the employees of the resort, which was all young guys, against the guests. And the guests had never won ever. And it was my dad, my friend, and his dad who was in the Olympics, not for baseball, but for rowing or something. They were good at, and we beat the staff. And it was like they were like really pissed. Like it was like, and like I could see how good he was.
Right.
And he was playing third base, and he's standing really close, like halfway between third base and home plate. And I'm like, Dad, if the guy hits one of you, he'll take your head off. And he's like, I don't care. And the guy hit one, and he caught it. It's like, I'm like, I was
Good
really
reflexes.
Yeah, I was really. So he fought World War II. Like he went to college for 2 years for engineering. Then the war came. He never went back. Yeah. I used to ask him when I was older, did you regret? You never, because he like that, back then the union jobs were better than the college jobs. Mm-hmm. Like he's like the union job was better. Like so he took a factory job. He joined United Auto Workers, but after the war. But he was in the Battle of the Bulge, which was a brutal battle. Like they almost had to amputate his feet because it was like 20 below zero. Wow. He was in the Fighting 69th Infantry Division, which is like you could look up the Fighting 69th if you Google it. And they were there were a lot of divisions that liberated. He was one of the first guys to get into Germany, like what we call liberate Germany.
Wow.
He didn't like to talk about it, but like, these guys were like burning people as they were fleeing. I mean, it was.
So how old was he when he was there, do you think?
Well, my dad was born in 1922, and
okay.
So this was like 1944, so he was 22.
So young.
Yeah. So he got out of the war, worked 43 years in one factory. Also, like, for a while, like...
That's where you get your your work ethic, man. This guy,
seriously.
I remember when I was a
overnights,
kid,
weekends,
he worked 2 full-time jobs, and I remember when I was a kid, like, so he would work like I think it was like a 9 to 5 job, and come home and eat dinner, and then he had another job from midnight to 8 in the morning.
Really?
So like he'd only sleep for like, by the time he got home and ate dinner and went to bed, and we had to be quiet. And my mother, I remember as a kid, my mother would be like say you're watching TV and it was too loud, or you know how kids are playing around, you're going to wake your father.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long he did that, but it was for like years. I'm like, I look back at it now, I'm like, imagine doing that.
Yeah.
That's an Iron Man.
And he
That's a
also
real man.
delivered, for a little while, he delivered pizza as a third job on the weekend. And I remember they let him bring home the pizza that was left over, and I used to love that.
Of course he did.
When he would come home with the pizza. Sometimes it'd be like two boxes, whatever was left at the end of the night. But,
right.
So he really kind of worked like, they used to call him the $6 Million Man, like was a TV show when we were kids, because he never got tired of working. And like, I think I did inherit that.
Absolutely, man.
I'll give you one story. I could give you 100 of them, but I was in junior high, and I'm in a spelling bee. Like they used to have these spelling bees, and then if you won it, you got like a bond for like a scholarship. Not a lot of money, like maybe $1,000 or something. And then, but if you won it, you advanced to the state championship. If you won that, you went to national championship, and the prizes kept getting higher, right? So they give you a book of words to get ready. It was like the size of a phone book, which I think I covered last week. Like no one knows what a phone book even. Morgan, you don't even know what a phone book is.
I know what a phone book is.
So anyway, it's like this.
Yeah.
They give you this thing like that. So now remember, he's only sleeping a few hours a night, and I remember he decided that he was going to coach me. And I remember like we're in my room every night, like leading up to this, and he never hit me. My mother told him to hit me once with the belt. I think I stole something, like a pack of gum or something. My mother's like, give him the belt. So we go in my room, and he takes the belt off, and he's like, make it sound good. Yeah. And he's banging the belt against the door or something, and I had it like, ah!
Yeah, you
And I was, but he would yell. Like if he didn't do what he wanted, he would yell at me, but he never hit me.
Right.
And so we're doing the spelling. If I would get words wrong, he would be yelling at me. I told you that word. You should know it.
So more competitive.
So he grilled.
You
He pushed me hard. I think we had like 2 weeks to get ready. So we go to the spelling bee, and I'm ready. I'm like, I got this fucking thing. And like, so there's 3 people left. And like you kind of knew who the people were that you had to beat.
Yeah.
And there's 3 people left. I'm one of the last 3, and like I'm looking, it's like 2 people that you wouldn't even expect. I'm like, I'm a winner. I'm a lock. Like these people are. I'm not the people who I was worried about lost. I'm like, I got this. I'm gonna win. And I blundered a word, and I came in 3rd.
What was the
word?
word?
I still remember the word was commodities.
Can you spell it now?
I can't. Of course, it's got 2 M's. I spelled it with 1. CMO. So like now, I'm walking out, and I'm thinking he's gonna go off.
Yeah, like the great Santini or
And I'm
something.
walking out. I'm like crying practically. I'm like, sorry, Dad, I let you down. He goes, you didn't let me down. Come on, let's go to Friendly's. For those who don't know, Friendly's, I don't think they're still around anymore. It was an ice cream chain.
Sure.
I used to love
best
Friendly's.
hot fudge going, dude.
And I used to get this giant sundae. He took me for the sundae.
That's nice.
Yeah, no, man. Sounded like you had a great dad and mom. You made him proud.
Yeah, he made it. He died at 80. Like he got cancer, and it was fast. Like the doctor said when we found out, he goes, I can't believe that he's not in pain, because like he was gone in a month. Like, but he did. He died right after his 80th. He was in a wheelchair on his 80th birthday, but he made it to 80, and he had been he quit. He smoked for a long time. My parents almost never drank. Like they weren't like your father, Morgan. I mean, they would smoke. They would drink on like New Year's Eve or Christmas,
special occasions.
But they like never, 360 days a year, they didn't have it. Never went to a bar, I think, ever.
Oh wow.
Like in their life. But he would have loved. I guess they had it then, but my dad would have loved karaoke. Like if it was around, but it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
But he would have been like the
You're loving
that would have went out
Sinatra.
5 times.
Would he sing like songs at home?
Oh yeah, he would sing at home like on Christmas, and like we would have company over, and they would sing. They would ask him to sing.
What songs? Like, what was
I
he
mean,
into?
he could do everything. But
Sinatra.
He did Nat King Cole at Christmas.
All the Christmas songs.
I mean,
sure.
he could do Sinatra, Perry Como, who was a huge Italian singer when I was a kid. I mean, he just a. I look
Very
at
well-rounded man. Your father was.
Yeah, he could do everything. And I'll tell you one other story. I love the Yankees, but we didn't have money to go, and the neighbor was like a pharmaceutical exec, so. He got us these really good seats, his son and my dad and I. And the Yankees had a Hall of Fame shortstop named Phil Rizzuto, who was also an Italian guy from New Jersey.
The Clipper.
The Scooter.
Scooter, yeah.
So we're at the game, and they're and like then we're getting this guy, security comes and gets us something, and we steal the tickets or something, they're like, come on. And they take us up to see Phil Rizzuto. Like, my dad knew him, and then he's telling me how good a ball player my dad was, and he's like, if it wasn't for the war, your father probably would have played for the Yankees. I'm like, is this guy for real?
Wow,
that's really cool.
And he signed a bunch of baseballs for me. I ended up selling them like years later. Phil Rizzuto is a Hall of Fame shortstop.
Sure.
Signed a bunch of baseballs for me. I remember that.
Wow, that's cool.
Very good stuff, man.
So I miss him, I think he would.
Around this time, when we come around the holidays.
He loved to go to the racetrack, like he gambled, but only on horse racing, nothing else. Never went to casinos, never bet on sports, and he used to love the horse. I remember one other story. We bet this horse was named Turbo Tom. Of course, why I bet him. The horse is 5-1. We're at the track, and I'm like a little kid, so I think I have like $5 on him. And the horse wins. And after the race, the horse has a heart attack and dies. So they had to come horse ambulance, take him away. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I go, Dad, did we still get our money? and he's like, yes. I don't care. And I was like, oh, good. And he's like, you shut. He yelled at me. Like, that's a beautiful animal. Like, how can you say that?
Oh, because you didn't care that the horse
I didn't
died.
care. I just cared about my money.
Yeah, wow.
Like, when he took me, there was a horse called Secretariat, who many consider the greatest racehorse ever. So he won the Belmont Stakes world record time. And my dad took me to that race. And I was allowed to bet $2, one bet. And I'm betting Secretariat. And my dad's like, Tommy, you don't really want it. For a $2 bet, you get back $2.20. You make 20 cents. I'm like, I was a young, smart aleck kid. I was a really good student. I'm like, that's 10% of my money. That's a great return. If I could do that every day, I'd be the richest man in the world. So so he wins by a mile. I get my 20 cents, and he wouldn't let me. He said, we got to get out of here. I mean, the place was like crazy crowded. He said, Dad, I got to get my money. He goes, don't worry about it. So I kept that ticket for like 40 years. I sold it on eBay. Remember eBay? Is eBay still around? I guess it is.
Yeah, it's definitely still around.
So
you sold the ticket? I don't get it. What?
Because it's no good anymore. The tickets are only good because it's a collectible. Okay. I have a Secretariat winning ticket.
How much did you get?
I think I got like $150.
All right.
For a $2.20.
It's worth saving that thing for 40 years.
But I didn't want to save it. I remember that day though. Like, just remember, so crowded. Yeah. And like the horse Secretariat was up by head by so much. Like, you have him, and then there's like you can't even see the second place horse. He was ahead by that much.
So that's why you like horse racing so much.
So then we're on the way home, and I'll finish the story. Is like, I go, Secretariat's never going to lose again. And my dad says, yes, he is, Tom. I'm like, no, Dad, he's never going to lose. There's a horse named Onion that, and my father's favorite trainer was a trainer of Onion, a Hall of Fame trainer named Herb Allen Jerkins. They used to call him the Giant Killer because his horses would beat really big horses. And so then I remember that Saturday, the Secretary was racing against Onion in this track called Saratoga, a really fancy racetrack in upstate New York. And my dad leaves early in the morning. It's like a 4-hour drive. And he goes, if your mother asks, I work overtime today. You want me to lie for him? I'm like, I'm 10. I'm like, all right. She didn't ask. I have to lie. So I remember he came back, and he couldn't let my mother see. He had all the Onion beat Secretariat.
Nice.
Like a famous race.
He was right.
He was right. So I miss him. But all right. So now we're going to change gears a little bit. We're going to talk about TV dads. So Morgan, you're not going to. I love TV. Like I know. I mean, I don't watch it now. Like my girlfriend, one of my girlfriends makes fun of me. Like she comes over, Law and Order's on. She's like, "You still watch that? That old stuff?" And I said, "Well, I'm old. What the hell?" But I love TV shows. So you guys can comment. Feel free on each one of them. I got a whole list of TV dads. First, Andy Griffith Show. Never saw it.
Over my head.
Andy Griffith.
I'm old, so yes, I did. Mayberry.
And then his son was Ron Howard, who's a famous film director now.
Right.
Well, he was a sheriff in this small town in North Carolina whose wife had died, and he had a little son, 8-year-old son. Mm-hmm. It was a sleepy town, like there was no crime.
Right. It's
everybody loved Andy Griffith.
Right.
So here's one you'll know, Morgan. Tim Allen, Tool Time, Home Improvement.
I watched that.
What time is it? It's Tool Time.
That was good.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
How about Full House, Bob Saget?
Yep.
Sure.
You watch Full House? I liked Lori Loughlin.
I loved Full House.
Yep.
That was a great show.
Going way back in even the early 60s was My Three Sons was a show. Fred McMurray.
Yep.
The Brady Bunch is on reruns even still. Robert Reed,
sure.
The dad on the Brady Bunch.
I watched that.
Yeah, he was like the good dad. Roseanne, John Goodman.
Yep.
I liked him. Just trying to take care of his family. You know who I loved?
Blue Collar.
You know what TV that I loved? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Uncle Phil.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah,
he was a lawyer too, and then he became a judge.
Right.
Uncle Phil. Happy Days.
Oh, Mr.
Tom
C.
Bosley,
Come
Mr.
on,
Cunningham.
man.
Never watched Happy Days.
Heard of it, but I don't think I've watched
How about
it.
Seinfeld? George's father.
Definitely watched Seinfeld.
He was so funny.
He was, man.
Mr. Costanza. The Simpsons, Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
You think it's a joke, so, but Homer's a really good dad. Like, he cared about his kids.
That's really good.
I know it's animated.
You got a lot of time for a busy guy, man. No, Homer was a good father. Worked at a nuclear power plant.
How about Everybody Loves Raymond, Ray Romano?
Love that show.
Great.
He was a good guy.
Sure.
Good dad. Modern Family.
Oh, my God, I love that show. What's that guy's name?
Well, the actor's Ty Burrell.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
That show is incredible. Have you seen Modern Family?
Is that Al Bundy, the guy who played Al Bundy?
Well, he's on that show too, Ed O'Neill. I was going to bring that one up. Al Bundy, Married with Children.
Yeah.
But,
dude, where's Archie Bunker in All in the Family,
Carol
man?
O'Connor, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how good a dad he was. He was racist.
Listen, here's the deal, though. What I heard about, Carol O'Connor, and by the way, your friend Rick Benson knew Norman Lear. We found that out at dinner. Is that Carol O'Connor on the show All in the Family played a Republican, but we heard that he was actually a liberal in real life. You know what I mean? And he'd always yell at the meathead there.
Oh, by the way, Modern Family is Phil Dunphy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And he had the hot daughters, two of them.
Yeah, definitely. They're super hot.
Those girls were hot. Sanford and Son. Do you remember? You never heard of Sanford and Son?
You big dummy.
It was Red Fox was a comedian. He owns a junkyard, a black guy in L.A., bad area of L.A., and his son works for him in the junkyard. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny. The show was absolutely hilarious.
Man, Aunt Esther and Red Fox, when they get it on, it's hilarious, man. They are funny people in that show.
Little House on the Prairie, Michael Landon.
Great show.
I mean, I know of
way,
it.
Way back.
I
wasn't watching that.
You were even too old for that.
No, there's nothing.
You're too young.
I mean, the one girl wasn't bad looking, the blonde. I can't. Melissa something. No, one girl wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Frasier. I like Frasier's dad, John Mahoney.
He was
plays.
great.
You never watch Frasier?
No. Is that a newer
it's on
show?
reruns every night. Like 18 channels have it on, I think. Bonanza. This is a show you never heard of. Bonanza. It was a Western.
Oh, yeah.
Westerns were big when I was a little kid. And they owned this ranch in Nevada
was that
called
Lauren
the
Green?
Ponderosa. Yeah, Lauren Green.
Yeah, see, I know a few things here, man.
How about that 70s show?
Oh, that was a good one.
The dad.
Wasn't he bald with
Red
little...
Foreman, yeah, and he's called Dumbass. You dumbass. How about Family Ties? Michael J. Fox, that was an 80s sitcom.
Yep.
The dad was a real nice guy. And the son was like real conservative Republican. The parents were liberal Democrats. So like,
what about Cliff Huxtable, man, in the Cosby Show?
I
mean, everybody loved that guy, and then when Bill had his problems late life,
he raped a bunch of little girls.
Yeah, no, that wasn't really good.
About 70 of them or whatever. We talked about that. I think one of my first episodes. Our first episodes.
What about James Evans on Good Times, man?
John
that
Amos.
was a great, John Amos. Man, you're really good with this TV trivia too.
Good Times was a show, comedy in Chicago in like the projects set in like the 70s, and he was like the working father just trying to take care of his family.
Yeah, and when he went down in the plane in Florida, threw the plates down. Damn, man! I was like, what an amazing performance.
That was an amazing performance.
Thank you.
How about, did you ever watch Growing Pains, Alan Thicke?
A little bit.
That's his son is Robin
Trying to
Thicke,
act
who
like I know
is
something.
a singer now.
We watched a lot
Robin
of
Thicke.
television.
It was his
when we were-
dad.
Yeah, his
yeah. Okay, I can relate.
Well,
to
here's
that.
what I know you know. Hannah Montana, Billy Ray
Hell
Cyrus.
yeah.
That's her jam.
That was my favorite show growing up. Went to 4 of her concerts. But I just thought it was cool because it was a real father and daughter acting on the show together.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Well, Billy
fun.
Ray was a big time singer like years ago.
That's
Achy
why she
Breaky
got
Heart.
into singing.
Break
He was like a what's it called? One
Hit wonder.
One hit wonder.
She had a couple other hits, but
Yeah.
Do they get along anymore?
So apparently, the news on the street this last week is that they are estranged,
Yeah,
and
that's
she
what
made
I
a weird
thought.
comment. Someone asked her about it, and her response was, "Well, my mom basically raised me." And it's
Man, that's a shot.
I don't know though. I mean, he
Well, he
acted
was-
on
he
that show
was-
with her for years.
he was on tour and stuff, like, when she was
Yeah,
a little
but then
kid.
they literally were together on set for Hannah Montana for like years straight.
How about Family Matters, Urkel?
Oh, that's a good
Did
one.
you ever watch The Father on Urkel, Carl Winslow?
Yeah.
That was a good show. I watched. I liked the 2 girls on Urkel were pretty hot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you find a lot of women attractive,
Oh.
and that's why you remember these shows was the hot daughters.
You didn't mention
The
what's the guy?
Sopranos.
Oh yeah.
Who was
There you
that
go.
one there?
Tony Soprano, man, great family.
Jamie Lynn
guy.
Sigler. She played his daughter. He was a good father. He's a mob boss.
Sure.
But he cared about his kids and
he did.
took care of his kids.
He was a murderer and
So he was a killer
cheated on his
female.
wife. Yeah, he was great. He was awesome.
But a good example.
Yeah.
No TV dads. That was a good.
Remember Who's the
subject.
Boss? Tony Danza.
Sure.
His daughter was hot.
She's like, no, I can't say I do.
Alyssa Milano played the daughter,
Oh, was she hot?
but she was in that Charmed TV. Did you ever see Charmed?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
You know what show I love? The Rockford Files. The Rockford Files was a 70s detective show. He's like an ex-con, wrongly convicted. He ended up getting pardoned, becomes a private investigator in California. He lives in a trailer on the beach in Malibu, and I'm thinking, I used to think this, how do they not tow that trailer away? You just can't pull your trailer up in front of the beach. But somehow he's allowed to have his trailer right on the beach, and his father is like retired, got involved in some of his cases and stuff. And they had that really good father, and the son, the girlfriends that they'd be like guest stars that the son had were like hot. And his lawyer, the son's lawyer was really hot, was an actress named Gretchen Corbett. Every guy was in love with her. But
Is that different than the X-Files show?
Yeah,
Okay.
This is before the X-Files.
Got it.
But I liked her, Mulder and Scully, the X-Files. How about the Beverly Hillbillies?
Man,
Have you ever
Jed
seen that in
Clampett.
reruns?
No.
The Beverly Hillbillies is this guy, Jed Clampett. He's like a farmer in West Virginia. And he's out hunting, and he strikes oil on his farm.
Right.
So he sells it
Black
for like
gold.
millions, becomes rich. So sells the farm, moves to Beverly Hills. So
Yeah.
he's still got all the clothes,
Yeah.
and then his daughter is ridiculous, this blonde named Donna Douglas.
Ellie
like
Mae,
she's,
man.
And her belt was like a rope. Like, that was
You just tied it.
yeah, she just
Yeah.
tied the rope, but she was like ridiculously beautiful. Like, so he was a good dad.
Granny was hilarious.
That show ran for like forever, like 20, and then they made a movie years later. I talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago. They just rehashed everything, and they made the Beverly Hillbillies movie like years later. That was pretty popular. Not with the same actors; they were all pretty much dead.
Okay.
But
No, you listed a lot of TV dads, dude.
Yeah.
how about there was a show called Father Knows Best. Robert, that was like
Yeah,
that
Robert-
was even before my time. I
Robert
watched
Young?
reruns. Robert Young.
Yeah. What about Hugh Beaumont and Leave It to Beaver? Or there's
That was
Problem with the Beaver.
Now we're talking like 1950s television here. Hugh Beaumont, yeah. How about George Lopez? You ever see that show?
Yes.
Mexican
Didn't
comic.
he die?
No, he's still alive.
Okay. Well,
But he
I definitely saw that show.
How about Lucy? Ricky Desi Arnaz.
I love
They had
Lucy.
little Ricky.
All right.
Yeah.
And he was a good dad. So we take our hat off to our favorite
Hats
TV
off
dad.
to the TV
I mean, there
dad.
really aren't that many now. Like, who's current TV dads?
I don't know.
No, man.
It's a good
I mean,
point. That was
TV
kind of
now,
like a
it's-
phase for a while.
What's on TV
You're right.
now? It's all reality shows.
Sure.
Yeah,
The
I watch a lot of
Bachelor,
trash.
Bachelorette,
Kardashians.
American Idol, or the ripoff.
You're
America's
right.
Got Talent.
Yeah.
I mean, what really shows are there?
What happened to the
Well,
sitcoms?
There's cop shows are still on.
Did you ever watch Seventh Heaven?
Yeah, I think the father got in trouble, right?
Yeah. Well, like
he was a
Bob
pervert
Saget.
in
but
real-
Bob Saget was also a pervert. That was the news that came out.
The girl was hot. That she married Justin Timberlake, the girl on Seven.
Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked her.
That show was funny. I loved that
Is there a theme about what my favorite shows are?
Yeah,
I don't care
hot
what
women.
You can mute the tank. You can put the sound off. I don't care.
Oh, my God.
Good stuff, man.
I think
Well,
we're
that
running out
killed
of
a good
time.
portion of the hour.
So, the trailer for next. So everybody on Sunday, make sure that you call your dad. If your dad's not here, if you can maybe get to put some flowers or say a prayer for them. Let's all not forget our dads.
Appreciate the dad.
And
The good ones. Be grateful if you got
hopefully
one.
we'll line up with intense negotiation for our Taylor Swift tribute episode. You'd be
teasing
amazed at my
this.
knowledge of Taylor Allison Swift.
I'm surprised because I feel like she's probably not on your scale of like hotness with what you like.
She never was. Like when she first became famous, like I always thought she was talented. Like even if you don't like her music, she's very talented, unbelievably talented. It was only like years later that I noticed that was I attracted to her.
Oh, you are attracted to her, so she meets the scale.
Yes, Taylor
Is she within the 18 to 28 age range though? I don't know. She might be 30.
She's getting a little long in the tooth.
My dad would say, when you're in your 30s, you're an old maid. That's what he called me the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He told Trey,
That was
I'm
defamation.
an
We
old
can
maid.
sue.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen. Can we jump in? And I know she's not the biggest sports fan, but if I had to ask you, she can throw in some, what she...
I probably can.
Baseball, greatest father-son baseball combination, like we were talking. I mean, Griffey's, Bonds.
Barry Bonds and Barry
Yeah.
Bonds' father was Bobby Bonds. Played for
Barry and Bobby.
Played for the Giants in the 70s and
Yeah, you'd have to
Yankees at
say.
the end. He was a great player too. Barry Bonds.
1,094 home runs combined with those.
Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr.
Yeah.
Let me think of some other great father and sons. Well,
So these are where they were both baseball players?
Yeah, the father and
At
the
the
son.
same time?
Well, Griffey's were.
Oh,
Griffey's were at the
that's
same
cool.
time. That's unheard of. Like that rarely ever
I think they
happened.
played in the
I
same
mean,
game.
what did you have a kid when he was 15?
They homered back to back.
Yeah.
Wow.
He does, man.
I wouldn't say
does score.
15, but maybe like high school, maybe like 18 or something.
Yeah.
And then his kid started playing real young, like 19.
And then he must have been a little bit older for his
Yeah.
age, right? And then it worked out. That's
But those
awesome.
are the two main, you think about it, man. You got the Griffies and you got the Bonds, and there's a bunch
Well,
more.
they weren't anywhere near as good, but the Boone family, I think, was 3 generations.
Yeah, now that's a real
Grandfather-
accomplishment. You're right.
son.
Yeah, and then
Grandson.
the Bell family,
Yep,
there was a player, Gus Bell, and then I think his son was Buddy Bell, played for the Cleveland Indians in like the 70s.
Sure. So that's baseball, because I know you got other stuff. Basketball.
got the-
I was looking at basketball. There's not a whole lot of basketball father-son combinations.
Well, the one that might
Go ahead
happen
and
is
Google it.
LeBron James,
Oh, and Bronny?
his son is eligible for the NBA draft.
Oh, it's horrible.
So we'll see.
He's horrible. He's
We'll-
not a
we'll-
good
Son's
player.
bad?
He has
Son's
been
like
the most
maybe
overhyped
19.
player I think I've ever seen. He was like the #1 rated high school player, then goes to USC, and
How embarrassing would that be for that to be your dad and then you just suck at the sport and you're trying so hard, but
listen,
like you just can't do
I
it?
would- probably
I wouldn't say
harsh,
that though. I
but-
think the jury's still out on on they call him Bronny James.
Listen,
James
LeBron has overhyped this guy, and
I don't think so.
I think it's guess what? You say tomato, I say tomato. I think the kid blows. I don't think he's going to make it in the NBA. It's all about LeBron, and I want to be the first guy to play with my son in the same game. It's all it's about.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool.
Probably
though.
just pay someone off to make it
Yeah,
happen.
I got you.
I think that Bronny James is young. Right. He hasn't had a lot of experience. I mean, he could develop into an NBA player.
He's a
CBA
CBA lifer.
Coaching him his whole life, so he would have turned out really good. Like, that's surprising.
We'll see. Hey, you know what? We can agree to disagree.
Well, the NBA
Maybe
Finals
it'll turn out to be good, but I don't think so.
You guys should bet
Boston's
on
up
it.
3-0.
I'd like to.
The Boston Celtics are up 3-0.
Frosty. We'll see, Tom. We'll see. I'm sure he's a very nice kid.
Tom's defending Bronny.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think his father is like, hyping him. He's just kind of, he goes to see him play, but I don't think he's going around saying, oh, my son is so great. He has said he wants to play with his son.
Yeah.
LeBron James would love to play.
It's all about, but that's okay. Let Tom think.
His dad is unbelievable, though. LeBron James it's unbelievable, the level. I talked about it before.
Oh, he's an amazing player.
At his age. And
he's got 40,000 points, and his kid will have one. But that's okay. Who else you got?
Well, NBA, I don't think there are, like, father and son at the same time. I don't think it's ever happened.
You were saying Michael Thompson and Clay, so that was a good call.
It's happened in hockey. Gordie Howe, Mark Howe, Marty Howe.
You're right. The Hulls? Or the Hulls?
Yeah, Bobby Hull and Brett Hull. I don't know about football.
I didn't really look at the baseball when we were talking. I was like, oh, Bobby Bonds.
I don't think there's ever been a father-son played in the NFL at the same time.
Well, isn't football so, like, short-lived?
Yeah.
Because it's so hard on your body and stuff, so it'd probably be impossible for it to happen.
Like Tom Brady was
Peyton Manning and
closest.
Peyton Manning and Archie Manning, greatest father-son. Eli as well. You'd have to say they're the best in the NFL.
Greatest father and son in football.
I mean, what's the lifespan of a football player in the
Well, it
NFL?
depends on your position, like running
10
backs.
years?
I mean, I'd say average, probably less.
That's what I'm saying. So that wouldn't
like Tom Brady was like a just aberration. He played till he was 43. Most guys in the NFL like 32. Like they say, Taylor Swift's boyfriend Travis, he's 34. They're saying this will probably be his last year.
He's Travis, yeah.
Old
Heck
maid.
of a player, man. He is.
So I don't think he's going to go hungry anytime soon. No.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to get
Prenup.
married. That'll be next week.
I wonder if he has a prenup.
Oh, I'm sure.
Tom, the NBA, we haven't talked about that.
The NBA playoffs are going on. Celtics are up 3-0.
We've been all over that.
So it's probably that's probably all over. Hockey's tonight. I think they're in Game 3 of the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup Finals. What's interesting about the hockey, it's Edmonton against Florida. The plane ride is 7.5 hours. So they can't play the games. They have to spread it out because it's the two farthest of any cities that play hockey. So it's really not fair to make these guys travel, 7+ hours and play a game the next day.
Yeah, they need a rest.
So they have to spread it out.
Right.
So that's why the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals are taking forever. But, and we're playing hockey on, what's it today, the 13th?
Yes.
June 13th?
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that'll about do it for today. I want to thank you guys again.
I thought we did a good job. We had fun, right?
We had fun. Our expanding listener base out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We need sponsors. Sign up now. Get in early.
Let's get
I'll give you a
Portillo's.
good deal. Portillo's, free food. Shout out to Portillo's. We should give shout outs to some of my favorite places to eat and drink.
All right, let's do it.
That's a good idea.
Portillo's.
Dude. Next week, yeah.
I've been real good about staying off the fast food for the last several years, but I've gone to Wendy's like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
On the way to the.
What do you actually eat at Wendy's, though?
Well,
if you were to eat.
I did eat. I don't ever eat in it. The last time I sat down at a fast food restaurant and actually ate it in there, I can't even remember, but I eat it in the car.
Trey does the same thing in his truck. He'll just sit there, put his little podcast on.
I'm bad for eating at red lights. I'm waiting for a cop pulling me over. Are you eating in your car and driving?
Are you not allowed to do that?
You are.
Okay.
I would never break the law.
Thanks for having us on, Tommy.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, guys.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day
everybody.
again, everybody.
Yes.